All right, we want to introduce you to our ice rescue components, and we want to start in talking about the importance of the environmental considerations of what we're getting into. And primarily, we want to start with focusing on the environmental conditions that make our techniques and our tactics alter from our standard water applications. So the obvious factor is temperature. Whether it's developing ice layers on the surface, as well as the actual temperature of the flowing water or the static water underneath the ice, that dramatically impacts us as rescuers physiologically, as well as our victims. The other application that we're going to focus on is how that surface layer of ice alters or changes our approaches and our access points to the victims. We're going to talk about ice, assessing that ice, understanding how that ice may or may not react to us loading it. We want to talk about load distribution on those ice surfaces and whether we're approaching an ice segment from a boat or whether we're approaching ice statically from the bank. In either one of those applications, we want to use those basic principles and fundamentals about load distribution to gain access to those victims. We're also going to talk about PPE, how our thermal requirements change, how we want to make sure that we're protecting ourselves as well as protecting the victims. Along the lines of that hypothermic consideration and the patient's likelihood of going into a cardiac dysrhythmia, we also want to focus on that patient's reaction when they're in a hypothermic state. That in that hypothermic state, victims don't have the same abilities to grab things that we throw to them or that we reach to them. So their ability to grab things, control things, and manipulate their own bodies decrease significantly in these cold weather types of environments. So we can't just throw bags to them typically. We're having to grab them or do a lot more go rescue type applications. So the go rescue becomes a much more predominant technique choice, or it moves higher up on that scale of approach. Remember that we want to follow our standard sequences of reaching, throwing, rowing, and going, but our time is very, very compressed in this type of environment, and we may have to move towards that go rescue in a faster application than we would in some normal water-based applications. So we hope that this channel and these ice components impact the way that your organization is operating on ice rescue events, and that we give you some quick and effective and efficient tools and techniques to hopefully accomplish those ice rescues.